trouble today?
The man's name is Guinness.
Hello and thanks for joining us today. Adolescence, the studio and the Pitt win big at the Emmys. We'll have a roundup of the best series of the year at the TV Awards. We're also going to be talking about the next big series of the moment to look out for, two brand new shows, Task and House of Guinness. Well, Dheepthika Laurent is here to break it down. Hello, Dipti. Now, let's start with one of the most talked about wins of the night at the Emmys, Adolescence. The British series made history because its young lead actor, just 15 years old, won the Emmy for Best Supporting Actor in a limited series. Now, tell us, what makes his performance in Adolescence stand out, and how does this show explore the complexities of teenage psychology in a way we haven't seen before?
Well, you know, as you said, Owen Cooper made Emmys history. He's the youngest ever Emmy Award winner at the tender age of 15. And what he brought to that performance is quite incredible. He plays this angry young teenager radicalised by the manosphere, taken to killing a classmate in a fit of rage, quite unlike any depiction of a teen male we've seen on TV before. Here's how he reacted to winning that award.
Wow, it's just so surreal. Honestly, when I started these drama classes a couple of years back, I didn't expect to be even in the United States, never mind here.
You know what made his role so astonishing is the kind of range of emotions he brings to that character and the maturity he brings to the role. You see his character oscillating between this sweet, kind son and then becoming this angry, violent teen. There's one episode shot with him and his psychologist in the police station room that's really haunting to watch.
So powerful, isn't it?
So powerful and so scary to see the transformation of this young man. Stephen Graham and Erin Doherty both also won for Best Actor and Supporting Actress in a limited series. And this series is also extraordinary for its cinematic technique. Each 1 hour episode was shot in one shot. And we've talked a lot about that this year. Its narrative also was quite interesting. You know, the Miller family are a regular middle-class loving family.
That's what's so terrifying about it. Yeah.
Exactly, right? That this can happen to anyone. It's not a family that's torn by drugs or violence or addiction. And so really there was nothing to predict that their son could turn out to be a killer. So very stark warning about the dangers of online radicalization. And also it's very realistic. There's no happy ending. It's not tied neatly in a box at the end. It's just sort of left as it is, and you have to deal with the consequences of what he did. And, you know, personally, Netflix in recent times has been known for, you know, churning out, let's say, subpar shows. This is really one of the best ones they've done and the most hard-hitting. And the proof, it's been seen 140 million times in the first 3 months. Not by Owen Cooper, because he said that he's not seen the show, actually.
Okay.
He admitted that he's not seen it. In any case, several governments have, because several governments, including here in France, are using the show now to teach students about the dangers of online bullying.
Okay, well, that's Adolescence, probably one of the most talked about shows of the year.
Yeah.
Another show that stood out above the rest, very different. The studio swept the comedy category, is now earning more trophies in its debut season than any comedy has before.
Yeah, that's right. And arguably, it's harder to do comedy than it is to do drama. And this is a wonderful comedy. I remember the first episode with Martin Scorsese guest starring. He plays this sort of desperate director, you know, who's really just wants to get his project up and running. And, you know, there have been many spoof shows of Hollywood in the past. I think of another show we talked about called The Franchise, but none as irreverent and funny and sarcastic as The Studio. And one with such a long list of guest stars. You have Ron Howard, Bryan Cranston, Kathryn Hahn. The series broke a record for the most wins in a debut season, winning 13 awards. Seth Rogen winning for Best Writing, Best Comedy Actor, and Best Director. He spoke about being really surprised by all the awards that his show picked up.
Never won anything in my life. When I was a kid, I bought a used bowling trophy at an estate sale. And my parents were like, yeah, that's a good idea. You should probably buy that.
There we go, Seth Rogen there. In the Best Drama Series category, it was The Pitt that came out on top, a real-time medical drama that marks the return of socially conscious storytelling in this genre.
Absolutely. Noah Wyle finally winning his Emmy for Best Drama Actor for his lead role on The Pitt. It's a medical drama that takes us deep into the lives of healthcare workers in Pittsburgh. It's been hailed for its realistic portrayal of what it's like working in a hospital in a post-pandemic world. And I say finally, because Noah Wyle was nominated 5 years in a row for his work on ER and never won. So it'll certainly be sweet justice that he finally won, playing a TV doctor again. Here's how he described The Pitt.
It was designed as a love letter to first responders to talk about the aggregate toll that these shifts have taken on them since COVID, these tours of duty that they've done without a break. This was an attempt to kind of put the spotlight back on these trenches, which are flagging in morale and in personnel.
So, Dheepthika, The Pitt isn't just about hospitals, it tackles broader social issues as well. Did the 77th Emmy ceremony reflect any strong political or social messages, either on stage or in the winners themselves?
The other winner was Apple TV Plus's drama Severance, starring Adam Scott. The psychological drama in its second season follows workers working at a company, and they have two separate personalities, two separate lives, the innies and the outies. So basically, when they're at work, they're one person. When they're at home, they're another person. And these two worlds never collide. They have no recollection of what they're doing during those other hours. And then, as we saw in the series, the barriers get breached and all chaos breaks through. This series was created by Ben Stiller and Dan Erickson. It became one of the streamers' most watched series worldwide, and really talks about that work-life balance and brings a lot of sort of eeriness into the workplace, if you like, a workplace drama. Politics also did creep into the ceremony itself. Eve Hack star Hannah Einbinder won her first Emmy for supporting actress in a comedy series and used her speech to make calls for free Palestine. And afterwards, she explained why she took that stance. Take a look.
Well, I thought it was important to talk about Palestine because it's an issue that's very dear to my heart. I have friends in Gaza who are working as frontline workers, as doctors right now in the north of Gaza.
Now, Einbinder was seen wearing a Actors for Ceasefire pin, as did other Emmy nominees on the red carpet. Her fellow Hacks cast member Megan Stalter wore a purse emblazoned with ceasefire on it. Javier Bardem, Emmy nominee for the Netflix series Monsters, also wore a keffiyeh on the red carpet. So politics very much a part of this Emmy ceremony.
OK, Dheepthika, that's a wrap-up of the Emmy Awards. And let's move on now to two fresh TV series recommendations for our viewers at home. One of September's hotly anticipated limited series is called Task. Now, it stars Mark Ruffalo, and it's from the creator of 2021's Mayor of Easttown. Tell us more.
Yeah, Mayor of Easttown, starring Kate Winslet, which actually picked up a slew of Emmys that year as well. Task, like Mayor of Easttown, is also set in disenfranchised Philadelphia, with Mark Ruffalo playing a troubled FBI agent who's heading a team investigating a series of violent robberies. These robberies, we learn, are committed by a struggling family man with a sort of Robin Hood complex. He steals from drug houses.
OK, well, let's take a look at Task, which is out on HBO Max.
Robbie's world is full of color and life. He is a jovial, wild-eyed young man, one of these guys who never quite grew up.
Like a lot of people, he's under a lot of stress, but I think he has a beautiful way of not wearing that heavily and kind of letting it flow off his back.
Tom's world is lifeless and static. As the episode moves forward, we start to see that in many ways, not only are they emotionally the same, but visually the aesthetic starts to unify.
So that was from Task. What do you think about it?
Well, it's very intense. Mark Ruffalo brings a lot of intensity to his struggling FBI cop character with a painful past, a drinking problem, his sharp mind, all very similar to Kate Winslet's character in Mayor of Easttown. For me, though, this show was really the standout star of this show was Tom Pelphrey, who plays the burglar mastermind Robbie, who brings in such a mesmerizing performance. There's a real poetry in the way he plays his character, the struggling family man, these drug dealers, and it sort of forces us to question the gray areas between right and wrong. Let me warn you, though, there are no moments of levity, so be prepared for an all-consuming viewing experience.
Okay, that's worth knowing. Finally, from you, then, the creator of Peaky Blinders is back with a new period crime drama centred on the Irish Guinness family dynasty.
Yeah, absolutely. Stephen Knight, brains behind Peaky Blinders. And I read somewhere, also a drinker of Guinness beer, is back with a new historical drama. House of Guinness is a family saga set set in the 19th century, Dublin and New York. It follows the aftermath of the death of patriarch Sir Benjamin Guinness and the family's Guinness brewery empire. Now, instead of dividing his empire equally between his 4 children, he bequeaths it to 2 of them. So as you can imagine, so begins a bloody family war with greed, betrayal, secrets all coming to the surface. It stars James Norton and Louis Partridge. I've seen it described as Succession meets Peaky Blinders, which for me is a very promising premise.
It certainly is. Dipti, thank you so much for your breakdown. We're going to leave you now to decide how it compares. Here's a look at House of Guinness, out on Netflix later this month. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.
I, Sir Benjamin Lee Guinness, hereby give all my brewery concerns to my 2 sons, Edward and Arthur, jointly and equally.
We expected something more.
I feel it wise not to burden Benjamin and Anne with the temptations that come with fortune.
Do you really think you can just put it in a safe behind a painting, lock it up and...
The death of your father has served to poke a stick in a hornet's nest.